So, we've reached the first international break of the season, which is not all that entertaining, but it's a good time to reflect on the start to the season that Nottingham Forest have had so far, and I think it's fair to say, been very encouraging. It is not often that you can say that we are ninth in the Premier League table. I mean, I wouldn't mind the season stopping right there, to be honest, just call it a day, and I'll take ninth place. But not just on the pitch, where we're still clearly trying to click and play our best football. We probably should have won one of Bournemouth or Wolves, but overall there was plenty of positives to take from both of those games. It's also the transfer window. It is probably the best window we've had in a very long time. The most considered business I think we've seen from Forest in ages too. So this is all encouraging, and I want to talk today about a specific player in more detail. That being Elliot Anderson. He's brought so much energy and excitement to the midfield so far this season, and not only been able to play in one singular position, not only as an 8, but could also play comfortably as a number 10, also out wide on the left hand side. He can easily play there too. Now, of course, it was quite a surprise that we managed to attract somebody of Elliot Anderson's quality. Last season at Newcastle, he played a fair few games and was not at all looking out of his depth in a team that at one stage were playing Champions League football, competing for European football all of last season. So it's been a real shock that we managed to buy him in the first place. Now, of course, we had our own PSR issues in the summer. Newcastle had their PSR problems. We somehow managed to persuade them to pay over 20 million for our third choice, very, very poor goalkeeper in Odysseas-Vlachodimos. I don't know how we did that. And I'm even more shocked that in return, pretty much, we got probably their star young player in their team. That may end up being some of the best business this club has ever done. It's also interesting to see how Anderson's going to fit into the team with the signing of James Ward-Prowse. What does this mean for the rest of the team? Does Danilo even get back in when he comes back from injury? I mean, first things foremost, he just needs to get fit again, and that's what matters. But we've got so many options there in midfield now. Formation-wise, it's going to be fascinating to see how it unfolds. Will we play 3 in midfield at any stage? Will we play just 2 like we have been doing typically this season? Not counting Morgan Gibbs-White, who is, well, he's a bit of both. He's everywhere, isn't he, Morgan Gibbs-White? But I'm interested to see how all these players get a fair crack and get a fair amount of minutes. But that's not a bad problem. This is a very good problem to have. So, let's take a closer look at Elliot Anderson in that game against Wolves. And in just this one game, I noticed plenty of things to be encouraged by and why Elliot Anderson really can be that integral to us. So, of course, we know full well set pieces are an issue for Forest and have been for a long time. But with the signing of Elliot Anderson, a certain James Ward-Prowse, which I still can't quite believe I'm saying that, and even Ramon Sosa taking set pieces now, it looks like we've genuinely tried to face that issue head on, as well as defending them with Milenkovic and his aerial ability. That's a different story. I'm focusing on attacking them with Elliot Anderson, not attacking Elliot Anderson himself. That's a bit, too far, but you get the point, I think. Set pieces, obviously Elliot Anderson took a fair few in this game. This one was for the goal, so that tells you a lot. This game, he literally contributed to the goal. He got an assist, and it was, okay, Wood was in an absolute acre of space. Why would you leave the opposition's main striker unmarked like that, Wolves? Bit suspect from you. Not complaining, though. Perfect ball on to Chris Wood's head. You'd have to see it. Just a quick plug, if you could please like and subscribe to Rads. It goes a very, very long way for supporting the channel. Then please do that. And of course, our sponsors at Football Prizes have another fantastic giveaway to give you this week. If you want to be within a chance of entering, then of course the iCard is up there, and the first link in the description below is the place to go to enter. The giveaway this week is a signed Nottingham Forest away shirt with 14 instant prize wins available as well within the giveaway. For every ticket purchased, you also stand a chance of winning a signed Forest home shirt from this season. So it's the best of both worlds. You've got a chance at both home and away. This competition runs until Monday the 9th of September at 7:30 in the evening, so please be sure to enter before then, and thank you very much again to Football Prizes for sponsoring this video. This obviously didn't come to anything, but it was a pretty good delivery, just no one got on the end of it other than a Wolves player. This corner is cleared, but again, the delivery is pretty good. He's kind of aiming for that far post area, but again, it just got cleared, but the delivery was there. And it's not just his set pieces, it's also a lot of things, namely his pressing. Here, obviously, he's not the first man and not the first line of attack, but I mean, at this moment, he literally is the first man in attack. He's pressing that keeper, and yeah, you might say that's basic stuff, but it shows what he can offer to this team when you've got Ibrahim Sangara next to him as well, or Ryan Yates, somebody who's a bit more defensive. And even those two have not been afraid to take shots this season, which is something we've not seen enough from the midfield at times. You've got Elliot Anderson kind of as that support to Morgan Gibbs-White. It kind of takes the pressure off Gibbs-White a little bit as well, because you've got this creative spark behind him. So it's not quite as much emphasis on him. More pressing here. I think he ends up winning the ball. No, he doesn't. But he puts this Wolves player under pressure where he forces him to have to win the ball or pass the ball. Obviously, Hudson-Odoi was in his way too. But it's because Anderson put him into that situation. This is probably the best example. He follows this Wolves player the entire time, even when he's not got the ball. He lost the ball for a few seconds there, and he did brilliantly to win it back. So he spotted what Wolves were going to do there. He kept, at the very least, on that man. So I mentioned set pieces and pressing, forward thinking, just in general. Like I say, that creative spark is now further back in the midfield. It takes a bit of pressure off Morgan to do all the hard work. He hasn't got to kind of come back on himself at times to collect the ball. He's got the Geordie Maradona behind him. There's multiple examples here of Elliot Anderson playing the ball forward. And even if they don't come to anything, or it gets... None of these do get intercepted, I don't think, but it's just that forward thinking that we all want to see from pretty much every player. People criticise Ryan Yates for passing it backwards. Well, I'd say Anderson typically is the opposite of that. Again, forward thinking here, tries to play the ball through the line to Morgan. Morgan didn't get there in time, but again, idea was there. Creative spark is something we really missed in midfield last season. There wasn't really anybody in there. Maybe Danilo and Dominguez, but different sort of players, I'd say. Here again, he wins the ball, again, straight away, down the line, intercepted that time, but the idea was there. Another example here, probably even better because he runs with the ball a bit. He actively tries to move the ball up the pitch himself. Again, a bit more, less direct, that one. He plays it over to Alanga, but again, forward thinking. He does a bit of both here. He plays it forward initially there, as you saw, but then he comes back on himself. And this clip and... Okay, that's not in the right order. This clip and the next clip here, it's also showing you Anderson being very calm and considered on the ball as well. He doesn't necessarily always go route one, which doesn't always work. I mean, I love this. He literally stops the ball dead for a moment there and just decides what to do. So, calm, considered, as well as trying to progress the ball at the pitch. Here as well, he spots the run, or at least tries to spot the run. He ends up paying off, and it was going to be difficult for him to get the goal there, because he's got, like, what? How many Wolves players? Like 3 Wolves players around him, and the goalkeeper. So, it was going to be very tough for him to score there. But you spot here already, he's already trying to make a run for Hudson-Odoi, which, unless Hudson-Odoi flicks it completely over the Wolves lads, which is very difficult, he's not going to get the ball there. But now he's in a very good position. Morgan gives it him, and yeah, he's not got much time to collect this and make anything happen. But you know, again, idea was there. He spotted the right place to be. Just a couple of examples here as well. I noticed just his aerial ability as well. I didn't really pinpoint that as being a strong point for him, but you know, these are pretty basic headers, but heading it back to safety, heading it up the pitch to Hudson-Odoi, I think that was. You know, it's good. It's good that he can do a bit of everything, and I think this video really does demonstrate. I've looked at most things that a midfielder should be able to do, or a creative midfielder: set pieces, pressing, forward thinking, being able to just head the ball when required, being calm on the ball. Anderson offers all of that. I don't want to just say that he's the perfect midfielder, there's no problems with him, because even in this game, he made a couple of mistakes. Here, for example, tries to progress the ball forward, doesn't work. I'll show you that a bit more clearly. See what I mean? He just went straight to a Wolves player in that case. But credit to Anderson, he clearly hurt himself a bit there, but he immediately gets back up not a scratch, and tries to make something happen. Here, you know, set pieces, they're a lot better than what we saw last season on average. We scored from one of his set pieces, so it's quite minimal this, but you know, this one was not even beating the first man. How many times did we see Gibbs White do that last season? So they're just two mistakes that I saw him make in this game, out of all the many other clips where I'm praising him. So it isn't even really an issue. There's just two mistakes there out of the abundance of good stuff that he did. And I think that's only, well, there's nothing bad about that at all. So that is why I think Elliot Anderson can be a really big player for us this season. This is just my take on it. What do you think? I've seen a lot of people give him a lot of appraisal, and that's fantastic. And yeah, I had a good feeling about him when we signed him, and so far, so very good. And let's just hope that he can continue to perform like this. And we've got so many other brilliant options that can support him as well, which it is really luxury when we see where we've come from to have these options in midfield and just all across the pitch. Let me know in the comments any other players that you'd like to see a more in-depth look at. I thought Anderson was probably the obvious one, but there's a few other players that I've got in mind that I could have a look at. Please, if you have enjoyed, hit the like button, subscribe to Rads if you're new, and yes, thanks for watching everyone. Up the Reds.